We all like to draft elite level running backs. So today I'm bringing you 5 elite level running backs to discuss. Now, last year we did talk about this in a video, talking about maybe my favorite article ever. I know there's a bunch of people in the space that absolutely love this article. It's by Pat Carrain. It was released back in 2021 and really has helped me talking about don't draft an early round running back without legendary upside. So we put out this video last year. I thought Bijan Robinson had ultimate level upside in the first round. That ended up not exactly happening with Bijan Robinson, but we want a guy like a CMC. We want a guy like a Breece Hall or Bijan Robinson that has that receiving level upside that also has the workload and how we can avoid the RB dead zone to be getting ultimate level value and really filling out our whole entire rosters. And for me right now, talking about some of these guys, the first guy that I want to bring up and talk about is going to be Mr. Devon Achane. And Devon, for all intents and purposes, had maybe the most efficient rookie season we have seen out of a running back as a rookie, which is absolutely incredible. Because a guy like Devon, who is a smaller type build, he is 5'9", 188. We like to see our running backs have a little bit more of a BMI, be over 200 pounds. That was not Devon, but Devon on a per touch basis, Devon on an efficiency standpoint, when we look at his opportunity share, makes 0 sense with his ultimate level productivity. So to me, for a guy that didn't have the opportunity, was able to produce at an elite level fantasy football clip, RB5 on a points per game basis, that to me screams Devon's going to be a guy that we absolutely have to be targeting in our fantasy football drafts, because I know he played in 11 games. So a lot of people are scared off by the injury and durability concerns. I mean, when we're looking at him last year, he got a shoulder sprain in the preseason. He had a knee sprain in week 5 that ended up sidelining him for 5 total games. He was on the injury report for 7 games. Then he did have toe soreness and bruised ribs in week 14. So I understand the worry that, hey, if Devon just can't stay healthy, my thing is he's playing in a Miami Dolphins offense where they've already talked about, hey, we need to get Devon the ball more in creative ways in year 2. Mike McDaniel has literally said that in a few of his pressers. Devon has put on weight, looks a lot stronger, a lot more durable heading into the season, and Devon's ready to take that year 2 jump. We typically see a lot of running backs after they have some success as a rookie running back first year, come back in year 2 and absolutely be explosive. Like we said, Devon's in the same breath as a guy like Chris Johnson, as a guy like Jamar Charles, some of these smaller level running backs that were able to get the volume and actually produce on a fantasy football level. So that to me is what makes me super excited about Devon. If we look at the overall in split and out of split with Raheem Mostert, he did perform a little bit better without Raheem Mostert in the 2 games that he was able to play without Raheem Mostert, but was still able to maintain like less than 0.5 points away when he was playing with Raheem Mostert. So I'm really not scared about Raheem Mostert's overall upside. We also haven't seen Raheem Mostert be healthy for a whole season. So Devon just feels absolutely great. And when we're looking at the overall aggregate ADP, I know he's like a back end second round player on Underdog, but right now he's going off the board as overall player 26, RB 11 on the overall average between Underdog, CBS, ESPN, FFPC, NFL, Yahoo. Makes me feel really good about Devon. I think Devon is an absolute league winning, ultimate level upside type player that I want to be taking a shot on, especially if you go wide receiver in maybe round 1 and you're able to come back and get Devon, or maybe you're going wide receiver, and then you're able to get Devon as your RB1. Absolutely love that upside. And my second player that I believe has ultimate level league winning upside is going to be Travis Etienne. And last year we saw Travis Etienne have that same level upside early on in the season. Travis Etienne, of course, a lot of people worried about the Tank Bigsby, that draft pick, but last year was RB7 on a points per game basis. It came out of the gates hot. 21 fantasy points in week 1, week 3 had 17, 10 in week 4, but then really went on a tear post week 5. Week 5 had 36 fantasy points, 23, 22, 25, and then things started to taper off as the season kind of went on. So a lot of people are a little bit worried, hey, he really, when he started to perform well, he had over a 75% snap share. So if Tank Bigsby comes in and let's say gets a 40% snap share, and all of a sudden Travis Etienne, his overall metrics where he was RB6 on snap share where he had 74% of the snaps, he was RB6 on opportunity share where he had 75% of the opportunities, what happens if those start to go Tank Bigsby's way? My argument with a guy like Travis Etienne is I think that touchdown upside that he has where he had 12 total touchdowns last year, it's really freaking good that continues that way. I think the touchdown upside is going to be there. So even if they give some of those more bruising touches down the middle straight ahead to Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne is still going to be the third down back because he was RB7 last year with 73 total targets. Now, how did that end up? Receptions, 58 receptions, so he was RB6. And when we looked at Travis Etienne as a profile coming out of the University University of Clemson, we really loved his opportunity to catch passes. We thought he was Alvin Kamara-like, and that was really exciting to me when we really started to see that start to happen last year. Now, the overall opportunity, we'll have to see how that comes this year. They drafted BTJ. They signed Gabe Davis. They let go of Calvin Ridley. So you add some more mouse into this offense, but really, we really scared that Gabe Davis and BTJ are going to take away any opportunity for Travis Etienne in the receiving game? Not really, in my personal opinion. So that's what makes me really excited about this overall high level upside for a receiving back that you're not having to draft in round one. You're able to get Travis Etienne right now as RB9, overall player 21. So yes, you have to take him in the back end of the second round. Yes, but I've seen in underdog drafts and even some other leagues like an ESPN and a CBS where Travis Etienne has fallen into the early third. And at that value, like I said, both him and Devon just feel like ultimate level upsides where we could be talking about them at the end of the season in the top 5, because that's where we saw them last year on a points per game basis. So absolutely love some Travis Etienne. Think he's a massive league winner. We move on to my third player that I absolutely think is going to be a league winner with elite level upside. It's going to be Alvin Kamara. And a lot of people are starting to doubt Alvin Kamara just because of the age, which is crazy to me because Alvin Kamara the last 2 years, RB4, RB13, and RB3 last season on a points per game basis. Last year was RB3, even though he had that whole suspension. I know he only played in 13 games, 3.9 yards per carry, which isn't great, but he ended up with 75 total receptions. Listen, I understand there's Kendre Miller. I understand they still have Jamal Williams as running back options in this backfield. But besides Chris Olave outside, who the heck else do they have? Taysom Hill, A.T. Perry. They really don't have a whole lot of weapons in this New Orleans Saints offense, which means that things are still going to continue to run in the passing attack through Alvin Kamara. You got Derek Carr or Spencer Rattler as the starter this year, which is going to mean even more continued dump offs for Alvin Kamara. And last year, I know he only had a 49.8% snap share. Like, you can't tell me that they're going to lower that snap share. The only thing that could potentially happen is that snap share goes up. So really for me, the fact that he was RB9 on red zone touches, RB2 on targets, RB29 on carries, they were the 10th total team in team run plays per game. And you're telling me that he was only on the field 50% of the time and ended up as RB3. Even if for some reason that snap share goes up a little bit, maybe some of those efficiency metrics drop. You're telling me that Alvin Kamara can't get back to 17.9 fantasy points per game? I think so. Listen, I understand the age. The age cliff is always a thing with running backs. We look at him being 29 total years old. That is a little bit scary. Once we get past age 26 and then 27 and 28, once we start approaching 30, start to get a little bit scary hours here in the running back landscape. And the thing that I will say, Derrick Henry is one thing. Derrick Henry is built like a man, but even time is going to catch up to Derrick Henry. Alvin Kamara is a little bit smaller, 5'10", 214. That is a concern for me with Alvin Kamara, but I do think ultimate level upside here is with Alvin Kamara and drafting him where you're going to have to be drafting him. I mean, when we're looking at him in the overall landscape, currently going off the board as RB16, overall player 47. If you could get Alvin Kamara, let's say you do a draft where you're able to get 2 wide receivers and then you're able to hypothetically get Devon in the third and then Alvin Kamara, and you're able to have 2 elite level wide receivers and arguably 2 elite level running back. Absolutely crazy with the league winning upside that he's going to continue to possess going forward. Moving on to my fourth player that I want to talk about here with these elite level running back upside is going to be Jonathon Brooks. And Jonathon Brooks finds himself in an interesting predicament because all of these running backs that we love that get drafted, you have to know one thing. It usually takes them a little bit of a time to get going. We look back on last year with Jahmyr Gibbs, it wasn't all hot to try it out of the gate. We look back from a few years ago, even Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, as much as they were all highly drafted in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft, it took them a while to get onto the field and start actually showing some fantasy football production. Jonathon Brooks is walking into a Panthers running back room, which is pretty much just him and Chuba Hubbard. And I love some Chuba Hubbard, but Chuba Hubbard has literally zero skill, is kind of just a jag, pretty inefficient clogger. But this is an offense that's interesting because not only do we have a head coaching change with Dave Canales, but you got Bryce Young, who's not a scrambling quarterback, who likes to check the ball down. And Jonathon Brooks, we just saw last year with Rachaad White. Rachaad White get over 75 total receptions because Dave Canales was an absolute gem in the passing attack with his running backs. We'll look at Jonathon Brooks right now. He's going off the board as RB26, overall player 84. Listen, he is going behind Raheem Mostert, Najee Harris, ahead of guys like Jalen Warren, Tony Pollard, Zach Moss. So I understand there is a little bit of worry with Jonathon Brooks and how that's going to work for him at returning overall ADP value. But when we're looking at him as an overall prospect, dude was a second round running back taken in this draft class, taken in a draft where the elite level guys, we saw Bijan and Jahmyr be drafted in the first round last year. To be a first round drafted running back is becoming a lot more naysay, and the first round is really becoming the second round for these running backs. So Jonathon Brooks, for all intents and purposes, in this offense, I'm projecting a lot of good things as long as Jonathon Brooks can recover and come back from this ACL. That's the biggest comment and concern for me with Jonathon Brooks, and overall achieving that upside in year one is going to be how healthy can he get recovering off an ACL, because we all know first year running backs off of an ACL, or there's a little bit to be worried about. We'll have to even see if he's going to be ready for week 1. But I do think taking him here, especially if you're able to get him as your RB2, RB3, knowing that elite level upside, and hopefully you've built your roster around other strong points on your team. I think Jonathon Brooks has ultimate level upside at the RB position, and I think we could definitely be talking about him being super undervalued as a rookie. That absolutely blew up because that's happened in past years. Now, moving on to my 5th and final running back with elite level league winning upside is going to be Mr. DeAndre Swift. And DeAndre Swift last year showed that he had elite level game winning upside when he got traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Last year put up RB 24 points per game, but if we remember the start of the season, 27 fantasy points per game, 14 fantasy points per game, 17.9, 16.8, 17.8, 10.5, 14.4. Things started to kind of fall off after that, which was post week 8. But when DeAndre Swift is getting the ball and getting the rock and being efficient and being used, having anywhere between 12 to 20 carries a game, dude was absolutely electric. And he was playing in an offense where Jalen Hurts was stealing a ton of touches from DeAndre Swift in the red zone. Imagine if his touchdown totals last year, where he only had 6, got up to 10. We could be talking about DeAndre Swift as RB15, RB14 on a points per game basis, which is going to be totally in his range of outcomes with the Chicago Bears, because Caleb Williams, as much as he is a scrambler, he's not an elite level rusher. They're not going to be using him on the tush push in the red zone. You got Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, which is going to be exciting for the passing attack. But behind DeAndre Swift in this offense, you have Roschon Johnson and Khalil Herbert. And as much as I like those guys late round shots in underdog drafts, DeAndre Swift is the main one. He got the huge contract from them this season, and he's going to be super efficient. And that's the part that makes me super excited for him, because he was RB17 on a snap share last year, RB15 on an opportunity share last year, RB12 on carries, RB22 on targets. And I think that's the part of DeAndre Swift's game that last year, even in the Eagles offense, wasn't utilized enough, was his ability to actually get down the field, get targeted, get those receptions. Because as we were saying with this article from Pat Crane, we want to get these running backs that have league winning upside. How do you do that? They have the receptions, they have the opportunities in the rushing game with high level touchdown upside. And that defines what DeAndre Swift is going to see this year, and hopefully a better and improved Chicago Bears offense. So if you like fantasy football, if you want me to help you win your fantasy football championship this year, hit that like and subscribe button. I'm going to be here for you all season. Appreciate you guys tuning into the content, putting out another video tomorrow. Check out these 2 videos from the past 2 days, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.